आप सभी का स्वागत है। बहुत इम्पोर्टेंट पॉइंट है आज मार्केट में। पिछले 3 दिनों से हमने देखा कि काफी ब्रूटल रहा है सेल ऑफ। जियोपॉलिटिकल सिचुएशंस हम सब जानते हैं, ईरान और यूएस के बीच में काफी मामला जो है गंभीर हुआ है और इसका कहीं ना कहीं खामियाजा क्रूड ऑयल प्राइसेस, इक्विटी मार्केट्स अक्रॉस द ग्लोब। आज इनफैक्ट कॉस्पी इंडेक्स में हमने देखा लोअर सर्किट्स लगे थे 10% नीचे, फिर 12% नीचे और काफी वेल्थ डिस्ट्रक्शन हुआ है आज के सेशन में। तो देखिए, क्रूशियल ये समझना है कि सबसे पहले तो मार्केट का जो ओवरऑल सपोर्ट लेवल है, यानी कि अगर मार्केट को रिवर्स करना है या कोई भी तरीके से स्टेबिलाइज होना है तो कौन से वो सपोर्ट लेवल्स है जिन पर ध्यान रखा जा सकता है। पहला हम ये क्वेश्चन एड्रेस करेंगे। दूसरा क्वेश्चन ये एड्रेस करेंगे कि हिस्टोरिकली जब जब ऐसे इवेंट्स हुए हैं तो मार्केट्स ने कैसा रिएक्ट किया है और कैसा परफॉर्मेंस रहा है मार्केट का इस पीरियड में। और लास्टली ओवरऑल बिजनेस या जो एक तरह से अपॉर्चुनिटी जो है स्टॉक मार्केट व्यापार का आपका किस डायरेक्शन में बढ़ रहा है 2026 में और आने वाले समय में, क्या वो सेक्टर है जो स्टॉक है या फिर जो एक सेगमेंट है मार्केट का बूम करते हुए दिख सकता है। तो सबसे पहले एड्रेस करते हैं मार्केट का सपोर्ट्स। तो निफ्टी की मैं बात करूंगा। क्रूशियल ऑल इन ऑल इंपॉर्टेंट सपोर्ट लेवल निफ्टी का जो है 23,500 का है। 23,500 एक इम्पोर्टेंट सपोर्ट है क्योंकि जो हमने 22,000 के आसपास लास्ट ईयर, आपको याद होगा फरवरी में तकरीब 22,000 के आसपास का लो निफ्टी ने बनाया था और वहां से रैली शुरू हुई थी। 26,000 प्लस तक के हमने लेवल्स देखे थे और अब ये पुल बैक आ रहा है और इस पुल बैक में 23,500 का लेवल एक क्रूशियल लेवल की तरह प्ले आउट होता हुआ दिख सकता है। अभी दूर है, काफी दूर है, इनफैक्ट काफी पेन और देखने को मिल सकता है अगर वो लेवल टेस्ट होता है तो। और इमीडिएट बेसिस में जो निफ्टी का लेवल है वो है 24,000 का। अब देखिए, जो हिसाब से हम डे ऑन डे गिर रहे हैं, जैसे आज तकरीबन निफ्टी ने हमने 600 पॉइंट के आसपास देखा नीचे में। गिफ्ट निफ्टी इनफैक्ट 900 पॉइंट भी माइनस दिखा रही थी, कल छुट्टी थी हमें। तो जो हिसाब से जो स्पीड से मार्केट्स गिर रहे हैं, शायद 2-3 दिन में लेवल टेस्ट होते हुए दिख सकते हैं। इंडिया विक्स अभी भी एलिवेटेड है। आज के सेशन में हमने देखा कि भले ही आज निफ्टी थोड़ा सा रेंज बाउंड था, यानी कि खुलने के बाद ज्यादा सेलिंग नहीं आई, जो गैप डाउन हुआ उसके बाद नई सेलिंग नहीं आई, उसके बावजूद इंडिया विक्स 21 के ऊपर ही बंद हुआ है और ऑप्शन प्राइसेस एक्सपेक्ट कर रहे हैं कि एवरी डे शायद 400-500 पॉइंट का मूव निफ्टी में देखने को मिले। तो हीटेड है मामला, अभी तक ठंडा नहीं हुआ है। अगर कुछ सीज फायर की बातें वगैरह होती है तो यस, एक रिलीफ रैली जरूर मिल सकती है और सीज फायर जब एक्चुअल में होता है तो आई थिंक बिगर पॉजिटिव हो सकता है। फिलहाल तो मैं थोड़ी देर पहले डाउ फ्यूचर्स चेक कर रहा था, पॉजिटिव में ट्रेड कर रहे हैं और कहीं ना कहीं बैक चैनल टॉक्स पर डिप्लोमेसी वगैरह की बात की जा रही है यूएस और ईरान के बीच में। अब देखिए, यह मामला हमारे हाथ में नहीं है, रैदर जैसे आएगा वैसे उस लेवल वैसे उस इवेंट को हमें देखना है। बट एज ऑफ नाउ 24,000 एक इमीडिएट सपोर्ट रहेगा निफ्टी का। जो मंथली ऑप्शन है वहां पर पुट राइटर मौजूद है 24,000 की स्ट्राइक, और साथ में 23,500 का जो लेवल है ऑल इम्पोर्टेंट लेवल है निफ्टी का। इस पूरा का जो पूरा सेटअप है पिछले 1-1.5 साल का, उसको अगर नलीफाई करना है तो 23,500 अगर टूट जाएगा तो मार्केट एक प्रॉपर बेयर मार्केट टेरिटरी में जाता हुआ दिखेगा। अब तक हमने देखा कि मिड कैप्स, स्मॉल कैप्स बेयर मार्केट टेरिटरी में थे, लेकिन निफ्टी जो था वो कहीं ना कहीं जो 10-15 स्टॉक्स थे उनके बावजूद उनके बदौलत 26,000 के आसपास ट्रेड कर रहा था। लेकिन अब ये जो स्ट्रेंथ है ये यहाँ पर खत्म होती हुई दिखेगी। अब थोड़ा सा जूम आउट करके देखते हैं कि हिस्टोरिकली मार्केट्स ने ऐसा कब किया है, ऐसे जब वॉर हुए तब मार्केट ने कैसा रिएक्ट किया है और रिकवरी पीरियड्स कैसे रहे। अब क्लोजेस्ट इस मार्केट का जो सेटअप है ये मुझे याद आता है 2017-18 में। 2017-18 में वी हैड अ पीरियड इन द मार्केट वेयर market was very narrow. 10 stocks were keeping the markets high, which means there were the index heavyweights like L&T, the likes of Reliance, HDFC Bank. These were the ones which are keeping the Nifty higher, and the rest of the market in 2017-18 was bearish, यानी कि mid caps में मंदी थी, small caps में मंदी थी. It was only the Nifty which was artificially maintained at a higher level. 2017-18. अब ये खत्म कब हुआ? 2018 when it ended, it was the interest rate hikes by the Fed which caused a 15% drop in across global markets. So 15% करेक्शन आया, उसके बाद ये जो पूरा पीरियड था 1.5 साल का, ये खत्म हुआ और वहां से जो रैली शुरू हुई, we saw the Nifty doing very well from there. 2019 the rally was there. 2020 अभी 2020 तक Nifty was 12,200, 12,300 and this entire rally took us to the pre-COVID levels that the Nifty was there. So this is the closest example of how Nifty behaved in the past. Now this time around, it seems like capitulation has started. So I was coming back to 2017-18, बड़ा capitulation आया. After that capitulation, we saw the markets recovering. Now this time also we've seen 18 months of underperformance in mid caps and small caps. In the last 3 days, this capitulation seems to have started. Now this capitulation, what that translates into is maybe another few days or maybe another 10 days of volatility that is there in the markets, and post that a slow gradual recovery should begin. Now whether it was the Gulf War, whether it was the COVID crisis, or whether it was the multiple crashes that we've had in the past, be it 2008, be it the JFM crisis, the yuan depreciation that we had in 2016. In each of these periods, one thing was common, that these periods of volatility were short-term in nature. So on an average, it was about 15 days of volatility, on the higher side about 30-35 days of volatility. And post that, we saw the market stabilize and then eventually come out of the deep hole that they were in. Now, in this particular case, we are expecting the recovery period to be in the range of 3 to 6 months time frame. So the recovery could be slow, gradual initially, but then we may very well see the Nifty heading towards new all-time highs as well, because domestically speaking, a lot of things are right for the Indian economy. It's just that the global sentiment has turned sour, and just when we were about to finding our feet, we have this geopolitical scenario which has developed. Now, what are these sectors? कौन से वो sectors है जो इस market में recovery जब आती है market में, तो जो पहले हो सकते हैं, तो strength के साथ जाइए. देखिए ये पूरे period में सबसे ज्यादा strength जो थी वो थी PSU banks में, वो थी इनफैक्ट लेटेस्ट में जो एडिशन हुआ था इस लिस्ट में वो था पब्लिक सेक्टर एंटरप्राइजेस और PSEs. So PSEs still should do well once the market recovers from here. There is a long runway ahead of the PSEs. The PSEs का जो मूवमेंट है वो अब इनफैक्ट जनवरी में ही शुरू हुआ था और इनफैक्ट फेब में हमने मोमेंटम आता हुआ देखा था पब्लिक सेक्टर एंटरप्राइजेस में, जैसे पावर ग्रिड, NTPC, there are so many names. So CPSE ETF का एग्जांपल हम ले सकते हैं. That is something that can be considered as well. So public sector enterprises, one space where we feel the recovery can be quick. Apart from that, it could be banks and financials in general. So public sector banks have done very well. The strength continues over there, but now there could be follow buying happening in the rest of the sectors like NBFCs like Bajaj Twins. It could be something like a Shriram Finance. On the private banking pack, we could see ICICI Bank come back. We could see HDFC Bank seeing a rebound. Or we could see something like a Kotak Bank also do well. So banking and financials broadly as a basket looks good once the recovery starts. So in the next 10-15 days or whatever the short-term time frame is for this correction or volatility to happen, let's say it happens and it is done in the next 10 days time frame, you would look to accumulate these two sectors and broadly these three sectors, not two in fact, and get on or add on to them in your portfolio and become overweight on them. Now in the very short term, it could be defense that could outperform, particularly our favorite stock. We've recommended multiple times, Bharat Electronics. That is one of the relatively more stable stock in the defense pack. So defense is another thing which could do well in the short term. Now these wars are very difficult to sort of time, like Ukraine-Russia war. A lot of people expected this war to be over in 4 days. but today it is 4 years and the war is still going on. So very difficult to sort of put a timeline on these things. But one thing is for sure, once these wars erupt, markets reprice the additional risk, markets reassess the situation, discount it completely, maybe in a matter of 10-15 days, and then they move on. This time around also we expect the same to happen. Maybe 10-15 days of volatility will be there, and post that we may see the markets completely ignore, even if the war continues, markets may completely ignore as to what is happening at the ground level. So this is the overall expectation of how the markets should behave 3 months from here and in the very short term. And the important levels to watch are 24,000 and 23,500. Now another question कि 2026 में कौन सा वो सेगमेंट चेंज हो रहा है मार्केट में जहां पर एज अ प्लेटफॉर्म प्रोवाइडर्स फॉर अस as well as for traders, a lot of them who are hardcore traders who are into market 24/7, where could be new opportunities that could be coming up. So we saw last year derivatives volumes were down by about 40% due to the decrease in F&O expiries. We saw the regulator coming after the speculation in F&O. This year we saw the rise in STT in the F&O space. That also puts a dent in volumes. And plus there were talks that they may come out with stringent norms for new traders to come into the market, especially in the derivatives market. So that could put additional dent on the derivatives volumes as well. But what could flourish from here, from let's say take a 12-month or 24-month kind of a perspective, 1 to 2 year perspective, the cash market could come back with a bang. So last 18 months we've seen mid caps and small caps underperform massively. We've seen large caps giving single-digit returns in the last 12 odd months, and with the advent of derivatives sort of taking a back seat, we feel cash segment can, especially the MTF segment, which is where the leverage is also allowed, it works as a pseudo derivative. So you can't really short stocks, but when it comes to going long on, say, let's say example Reliance, you want to buy, you buy it in futures, the leverage is let's say 4x. The same leverage can be applied via the MTF platform as well. So we believe that cash-based buying and trading could see an increase in volumes, could see an increase in participation. That is where a lot of retail money would be switching to from derivatives, and at the same time it also had an advantage of a lower taxation as well. So I'm not a tax expert, but simply put, short-term taxes are much lesser than derivative taxation. That also could play a big role. So these are the slight sort of pivot that we are seeing in the market. The volumes are shifting, and broadly coupled with the backdrop of 18 months of underperformance in mid and small caps, next 18 months we could see this segment do extremely well, especially when April numbers come in and the numbers are better than what the markets are expecting in general. So these are the three things which I wanted to share with you. मार्केट जो है हिस्टोरिकली हमने देखा है, इनिशियल डे ऑफ शॉक्स के बाद में स्टेबलाइज हो जाता है और फिर बाद में रिकवरी शुरू होती है. आई थिंक दिस टाइम भी वैसा ही रहना चाहिए. आपके पोर्टफोलियोज है उनमें लॉस होगा, उनको पकड़ के रखिए. खास करके क्वालिटी स्टॉक्स जो है, क्वालिटी बिजनेसेस जो है, जिनकी अर्निंग्स पॉजिटिव है, अर्निंग्स ग्रोथ रेट ट्रेजेक्टरी पॉजिटिव है, उन स्टॉक्स को आप पकड़ के रखिए, इन्वेस्टेड रहिए. मेरे हिसाब से तकरीबन 3 से 6 महीने में रिकवरी, और फिर ईयर एंड तक हमें लगता है कि निफ्टी में जो हमारा इनिशियल टारगेट था 28,500 का, वो भी आता हुआ दिखेगा. सो ये ब्रॉडली हमारा व्यू है मार्केट के ऊपर. सेक्टर्स में पब्लिक सेक्टर एंटरप्राइजेस, पीएसयू बैंक्स, प्राइवेट बैंक्स, एनबीएफसीज आर एक्सपेक्टेड टू डू वेल. कहां पर इनफैक्ट प्रॉफिट बुकिंग आ सकती है, हमने देखा गोल्ड और सिल्वर में पिछले 2-3 दिनों में हमने देखा कि गोल्ड और सिल्वर चल नहीं रहे, इनफैक्ट नीचे आ रहा है. इसका रीजन सिंपल है, आज के सेशन में हमने देखा कि गोल्ड और सिल्वर में प्रॉफिट बुकिंग थी. So a lot of global hedge fund managers have sort of taken an aggressive call, saying that they have been buying gold and silver, especially for a situation like this, when there is a geopolitical scenario which happens, and which is what we are seeing today. It's a classic case of buy on rumor, sell on news. So the last 1 year, silver went up by 3x, gold went up by 2x, and on a day like this, when the entire global markets are falling, they are actually seeing profit booking happening in gold and silver. So that is also an indication that probably the gold and silver trade as of now has matured, and it will take some time for it to recover from the current profit booking, which is probably started from today's session. So net, these are our limited views on this. We are, we deserve the right to go wrong. We will adapt and sort of update in case any data changes. Please follow us on our social media handles, on Telegram, on WhatsApp channel, on Twitter and LinkedIn. You can search these on Google. You will find our coordinates for the same, and we are more than happy to help you open an account, get you onboarded in the JM family, and we would love to have you trading with us in equity and as well as commodity journey from here. So thanks so much. We can now open the floor for Q&A.
What is your technical outlook for small and mid-cap companies? Can you explain on investment stocks for 2 years?
Okay, so like I said, small caps have been massively bleeding over the last few months, and with this capitulation which has started, we feel that capitulation is generally the way to go, and this is a time to get into quality small caps and mid caps. This is one space where there is the biggest headroom is there. So once the recovery starts globally or as well as domestically, we would see the biggest upside happening in mid and small caps. If you are, slightly not comfortable with the kind of market that we are in, probably you could do an SIP. You could, do a staggered approach to getting into these stocks. So, this is a good time to get into mid caps and small caps because the headroom is the maximum. And you could do a SIP approach or a staggered approach where you park the investment in 2 or 3 tranches because the volatility could be unearning in the short term. Now, second part of the question is which are the stocks and which could do well from here. So for the entire stock list, we would suggest that you open your account with JM Financial. Start investing with us. We will be more than happy to share these stocks with you, not only trading stocks, but also a basket which can be initiated. So we are waiting for the market to completely get oversold. Today we were tracking, in fact, we shared a few pointers on how the market is not still extremely oversold. So the market is getting oversold, but maybe 2-3 days more, and then we would probably have that bottom in place. So once that bottom is established, we would be also keenly looking to initiate a fresh basket. A basket of stocks which can make us money in the short term, given the kind of oversold market situation that we are in. So we will be getting into that. For that, we would suggest that, you follow us on our social media handles, open an account with us and start your journey with us.
What are the technical bullish stocks for trading for 3 months?
Okay, so we did an historical analysis as to which are the sectors which could outperform in case the war gets elongated, or in case if it is a World War III kind of a situation. Well, it is almost World War III because the number of countries involved into fighting is immense. Now, historically, we checked this, and there were a few sectors which were common denominators. So one of them clearly is the defense pack, obviously, because that is where these ammunitions and weapons and everything goes into action. So defense is one pack which is head and heels above the rest of the market. Apart from that, interestingly, pharma is another sector which could outperform, especially if it turns out to be an extremely broad-based war. Thirdly, it is domestic consumption remains not much affected. So the likes of the consumer durable space, the likes of especially the ones which are completely make in India initiatives, these are the ones which could not get affected by this, and the domestic consumption should continue to remain the way it is. So they would be hiding grounds in that kind of a situation or scenario. And apart from that, one thing that also comes into as a defensive play is sectors where earnings visibility is there, earnings have been good, earnings visibility is there, and those which have the relatively lowest risk. So in that sweet kind of a spot situation, we find PSU banks to be very strongly positioned. The NPAs have come down, the asset quality has improved, and the numbers are expected to be better quarter on quarter as well. So that is one space which hits that sweet spot across the entire spectrum, and we could see these things happening. Now, one more thing that we have to keep a very close eye on is the possible global supply chain disruptions. So the same thing happened in 2020. कोविड के समय हमने देखा कि मल्टीपल चीजें availability, deliverability was a question mark. So a lot of orders got rebooted. When the tariffs were in place, we saw textile industry sort of going through a big reshuffle. Customers were sort of where once US probably turned to Africa, probably turned to some of the other countries as well. So there a lot of rejig happened. Now going ahead, if the state of Hormuz situations if it continues the way it is, we could see a lot more new disruptions happening, which could bring in opportunities for Indian manufacturers in this space. So this will be closely watched. As of now, this is still very early days. Over the next couple of weeks, we'll have more clarity as to how this is going, which are the alternate manufacturers in India which could benefit from this. So this is a limited view that we have, based on how things are developing at this point in time. These are sectors and stocks historically that have done well, and regardless of where the global markets were, these are the ones where recovery could be the fastest. Yeah, so data center and semiconductor sector कैसा है current levels, long term investing के लिए कर सकते हैं क्या? So in fact our fundamental team has come out with a theme report on the data center and semiconductor stocks. We would urge that you go through this report. We think that this is one space where a lot of wealth could be created over the next few years. Power consumption is another which I missed sharing in my initial discussion. So power consumption is expected to go up with this increase in data centers across the country, and there. So there are some of the things which could play out very well. I hope today's session added value and gave some sense of direction in this very highly uncertain time period in the market. मैं आशा करता हूँ कि आने वाले 10 से 15 दिन आपके लिए एक अच्छा अपॉर्चुनिटी हो इन्वेस्टमेंट करने के लिए, और खास करके जो ओवरऑल जो युद्ध की स्थिति है जल्दी से काबू में आ जाए और ग्लोबल ऑर्डर को एक तरह का स्टेबिलिटी और एक क्लैरिटी मार्केट में जल्द से जल्द आ जाए. Thank you so much and have a good evening ahead.
Investments in securities market are subject to market risks. Read all the related documents carefully before investing.